Hello and welcome back to Yoga with Rosie. My name is Rosie. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a yoga flow for stress, because I'm a little bit stressed at the moment, and also for people who maybe have been traveling quite a bit. So we spent 3 days last weekend traveling from Miami in the United States to France in Europe. And it was a long 3 days of a lot of sitting, so I kind of feel like I need to move my body. So this is going to be one of those flows where we're going to move quite a bit. But before we start, I do want to take a moment just to kind of centre ourselves and to ground ourselves. So if we're starting a seated position with your legs crossed, maybe your hands come onto your knees. And we're going to start with a breathing exercise where basically all you're going to do is when you're breathing in, just say to yourself in your head, I am breathing in. And when you breathe out, just say to yourself, I am breathing out. So when you breathe in, I am breathing in. When you breathe out, I am breathing out. I feel like this is a really nice way to connect back into the body, because sometimes the mind and body are not connected. I recently did my yoga teacher training and they said to us that the mind is a time traveller. So the mind can go forward in time and try and predict and worry about the future, or it can go back in time and think about things that have already passed. So it's really important to try and feel connected to the present moment. And I feel like this breathing exercise really does that for me personally, so hopefully you enjoy it as well. So a couple more moments here, just when you breathe in, say to yourself, I am breathing in. And when you breathe out, say to yourself, I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in. And I am breathing out. Last round, breathing in and out. And when you feel ready, you begin to open your eyes if they were closed. We're going to start off with some gentle neck movements. So slowly take your gaze to your right shoulder. Back to centre and over to the left shoulder. Back to centre and to the right. Back to centre and to the left. We're going to do that 2 more times, so back to centre to the right. Back to centre to the left. Back to centre to the right. And back to centre to the left. And back to centre again. We're now going to bring your right ear towards your right shoulder, so your shoulders stay down, your shoulder isn't coming up. But you just want to gently kind of tilt your head so that your right ear is almost listening to a secret that your right shoulder is trying to tell you. We're not forcing. Just let gravity do the work. And back to centre gently and over to the left hand side. So again, we're not forcing anything, just gently tilting your head to the left hand side. This is going to look different for everybody, so don't look at me and try and compare. Just do whatever your body is doing, that's perfect. Gently back to centre. We're going to do that 1 more time on each side. So gently, your right ear comes towards your right shoulder. Don't forget to breathe. Gently back to centre and over to the left hand side. and back to center. So now I'm going to draw some circles with our nose. So you can start off with some small circles just to find some movement in the neck. And your circles might stay small or they might get bigger and bigger. This can be at any speed, in any direction. And if you find a section that feels good, you can stay there. So for me, looking down and stretching the back of my neck feels good. So I'm going to stay here for a little moment and stretch that a little bit more. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And back to center. So we're going to start to move our shoulders. So you can either move one at a time. Maybe you want to move the right shoulder first, rolling it backwards. And then rolling it forwards. And then same with the other shoulder, the left shoulder, so rolling forwards. And then rolling backwards. Maybe you want to do both at the same time. So what I like to do is place my hands somewhat on my shoulders. They don't go flat on there, but my fingertips kind of touch my shoulders. And here you can circle both elbows in big circles to kind of create some movement in your shoulders. So I'm currently going backwards, so forwards, up and back with my elbows to create big circles. And then I can go forwards. Again, these can be as big as circles as you want or as small as you want. Or you can go as fast or as slow as you like. This is your practice. I'm going to go back in a couple more backwards. Again, you can do one at a time or you can do both at the same time. I'm going to carry on for 3, 2, and 1. So next up we're going to warm up our wrists. So there's a couple of ways to do this. Something I like to do is to interlace my fingers in front of me and kind of hold my hands and start to move my wrists just in circles, just in kind of any kind of movement that feels good. It's nice just to wake them up a little bit and get them moving. Especially if you're doing downward facing dogs, we need to make sure that our whole body is nice and warm. Something we can do as well, so if you place your right hand out in front of you, as in to stop, and you can start to peel your fingers back. So hold on to your fingers with your other hand and start to peel that back. And the other way, so bring your palm to face towards you and pull that back. You can do that 2 or 3 times in your own speed. Be careful not to push too much. You don't want to hurt yourself. I wonder if you can hear the dogs around here. We're currently in the south of France at my husband's parents' house. I'm just switching over to the other hand. And there's lots of dogs around here who like to say hello to each other. So I've switched over to the other hand, just going back and forth. So now that we've done that, we can actually hold our hands in front of us and just start to rotate your wrists outwards in circles. And then the opposite direction going inwards. Again, we're just trying to wake up different parts of the body. And back to center. So if we place our right hand on the mat next to us, and you have a couple of different options here. You can either keep your left hand on your hip and just gently stretch that way. Or maybe your left hand wants to come up over your head, and maybe it even wants to come up and over to the side. Any amount again is absolutely perfect, whether you're here, whether you're here, whether you're here. Just do what feels good for you until you feel a nice side stretch of your body. Remember to breathe. And back to centre. We're going to place our left hand on the mat and start to come up and over on the right hand side. Again, stretching any amount so that you feel a nice side stretch down your body. One more time, so back to the right hand side. Stretch up and over. And then to the left side. And back to centre. So I'm now going to move into some Sufi circles, and basically this is just creating circles with your body. So if you keep your hands on your knees and your legs are still crossed, just start to bring your chest forward, to the side, to the back, to the other side, and back to the front, and you'll start to make circles with your body. And this opens up your hips and it starts to find some movement in your spine and in your hips. So again, these can be big circles or small circles. You can go fast or slow. Just trying to find some movement. And I'm actually going to change directions, going in the opposite direction. I'm now going forwards and then to the left. Again, don't forget to breathe. And back to centre. So the next thing I'd like us to do is some seated cat-cows. So again, place your hands on your knees. On the inhale, you lift your chest and bring your gaze up. On the exhale, round your spine and look down through between your legs or maybe in front of you. Inhale, lift the chest and look up. Exhale, round your spine and look down. Inhale, chest up, look up. Exhale, round the spine, look down. One more time. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. Exhale, round your spine, look down. And back to neutral. So we're now going to move to a tabletop position. So we're just going to, in your own time, come onto your hands and knees so that your wrists are just below your shoulders and your knees are just below your hips. And this is called tabletop position. So from here we're going to do some cat-cows. So inhale, drop your belly and your gaze comes up. Exhale, curve your spine and look down. Again, inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round the spine and look down, maybe through your legs, maybe down to your hands. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze up. Exhale, round your spine and look down. One more time. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round your spine and look down. And back to a neutral position. I'm now going to find some movement again, maybe do some circles. So you might want to move your hands slightly forwards. I like to do that personally. And start to bring your weight to your hands and maybe round to the side, to the back, to the other side, and kind of make some circles here. Again, any amount is perfect, any speed is perfect. You just want to do what feels best for you today. Again, don't forget to breathe. And I'm going to change directions actually. and go in the opposite direction. So keeping our hands where they are, something I like to do is actually press forwards into a upward facing dog and then press back into child's pose. Press back forwards into an upward facing dog. Gaze can come up. And then press back into a child's pose. Maybe take a deep breath there. Press back into an upward facing dog. And back into child's pose one more time. Let's stay here for one more breath. Deep inhale in. And a deep exhale out. Go back up into a tabletop position. We're now going to tuck our toes underneath behind us and press back into our very first downward facing dog. So our hips come up and back. We can start to pedal out our feet. So you maybe want to bend one leg and straighten the other. Just finding some movement here. Stretching out your legs and your hips. Pressing through your shoulders and your hands. Finding some stillness. And on the next inhale, bend your knees, lift your heels, and make your way to the front of the mat. We're going to place our hands on our legs, somewhere either the shins or maybe your thighs. Straighten your back, look forwards for a halfway lift. Stay here for one more breath. Inhale and exhale, fold forwards. We're just going to hang here for a little moment. If you want to bend your knees, you can do so. You can maybe sway from side to side. Maybe hold your elbows. Do whatever feels good. Something I like to do actually is to straighten my right leg and bend my left leg. Keep my left hand down and my right hand comes up above me. It's quite a nice stretch. I'm going to switch sides, so I'm going to bend my right knee, straighten my left, and open up to the left hand side. I'm going to do that one more time because I enjoy that one, so switching. And one more time. Back into a forward fold and slowly raise up into a mountain pose, so just standing straight. You might want to adjust your leggings. You might want to redo your hair. Do any faffing that you want to do. And then we're going to do some side stretches. So stand with your feet hips distance apart. You can start to raise both hands up to the sky. And with your left hand, hold on to your right wrist. Inhale, stretch up, and exhale, bend over to the left hand side, stretching. Almost pulling your right hand, but don't really pull. It's just there's a tiny bit of tension there. Just for a nice side stretch. Back to neutral. Swapping sides. So hold your left wrist with your right hand and start to bend over to the right hand side, stretching your left side body. Okay, and arms come back down to your side. Back to the top of the mat. We're going to work through 2 sun salutation A. So if you know that, you know what you're doing, otherwise you can listen to me. So feet hips distance apart. On the inhale, raise your arms above your head and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift that we did earlier, so place your hands on your legs, straighten your back, look forward, and exhale, plank pose. So place both hands on the mat and step your feet back to a plank position. Stay here for 1 breath. You can either do chaturanga or place your knees down and do a half press up. Push up, open up your chest into an upward facing dog. Tuck the toes and press back into a downward facing dog. Find some movement here. Stretching each leg, maybe pedaling out the feet. On the next inhale, bend your knees, lift your heels, make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, come up into an upward salute with your arms above your head. And exhale, mountain pose. So we're going to do 1 more sun salutation A. So on the inhale, raise your arms above your head. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank position. So place your hands down and step your feet back into a plank pose. Stay here for 1 breath. Chaturanga or knees, half press up and up into upward facing dog. Tuck your toes and back down into a downward facing dog. You can find some movement here. Bending your knees, pedaling out your feet, do what feels good. On the next inhale, bend your knees, lift your heels and make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. And inhale, upward salute. Raise all the way up with your arms above your head and your arms come down by your side. We're now going to do my version of sun salutation B. I'm never going to teach chair pose, so we're not doing that. But inhale, arms above the head. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank position. Stay here for 1 breath. Chaturanga or knees down and do a half press up. Up into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog, tuck your toes and press through your shoulders and your hands. Press through your feet, lift your hips. Inhale, place your right foot between your hands. The back foot goes down to a 45 position. Raise up into warrior 1. So your right knee is above your right ankle. You can keep your hands either on your hips, maybe cactus arms, or above your head. Your back leg is straight and your back foot is facing 45 degrees to the front left side of the mat. Stay here for 1 more breath. Inhale and exhale, place the hands back on the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Bring your left foot up between your hands. Your right foot goes down, 45-degree angle, facing the top right-hand corner of the mat. Your left knee is above your left ankle. Hips are facing forwards, and your hands can either stay on your hips, cactus arms, or again overhead. Staying here for a couple of breaths. Keeping your back leg strong. Powering through both legs. Inhale and exhale. Hands come back down to the mat, back into a downward facing dog. And pedal out your feet here. On the next inhale, bend your knees, raise your heels and make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, upward salute all the way up with your arms overhead. and down by your sides for mountain pose. Okay, so inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Straighten your back, look forwards. And exhale, plank position. Your hands come down and your feet step back into a plank pose. Stay here for one breath. And you can either move through your chaturanga or you can place your knees down, half press up into upward facing dog. And exhale down into your downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet for a little moment. Okay, on the next inhale, bring your right foot between your hands. This time your back foot is parallel to the back of the mat and you come up into a warrior two position. So your hips are open, your chest is open. Your back leg is straight and your front leg is bent. You can keep your hands on your hips or you can place your right hand out in front of you and your left hand out behind you. This is your warrior two position. You can look over your fingers of your right hand in front of you. Maybe you want to place your right forearm on your right knee and raise your left hand up above your head, or otherwise maybe you want to reach over to the front of the mat. Look down, press back up into warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Start to reach forward with your right hand and then down towards your shin or your ankle or the mat. And your left arm stays raised above your head. Look down to the mat, bend your knee and come back up into warrior two position. Place your left hand on your left thigh. Rotate your right palm up. Reach up, back and over for reverse warrior. Back into warrior two. Place your hands back on the mat and back down into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Take a deep breath. Remember to breathe. I'm going to do this on the other side. So, step your left foot forwards in between your hands. Your right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. So your right leg is straight, your front leg is bent, and your left knee is over your left ankle. Your left hand comes out in front of you and your right hand comes out behind you. This is your warrior two. Take a breath. Maybe you want to place your left forearm on your left knee. And again, your right hand comes up above your head. You can either stay here or you can reach towards the front of your mat. Look down to the mat, press back into warrior two position. Straighten your front leg. Start to reach forwards with your left hand. Reach down towards your leg or the mat or a block. And your right arm comes up above your head. Look down, bend your knee, come back up into warrior two position. Place your right hand on the outside of your right leg. Flip the palm of your left hand and bend backwards, up and over for reverse warrior, remembering to keep your left leg bent and remembering to breathe, of course. Back into warrior two. Hands come back down onto the mat. Back into downward facing dog. And pedal out your legs. On the next inhale, bend your knees, raise your heels and step to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, all the way up to upward salute with your arms above your head. And exhale, hands come down by your sides. We're going to move into a tree pose, so just have one balancing pose. So I'm going to face you, but you can stay at the top of your mat. So what we're going to do is start to bring the weight onto your left foot. And your right foot, you can keep your hands on your hips. I feel like that's the best way to kind of stay stabilised. The dogs are at it again. So bring your right foot maybe towards your right ankle, your right calf, or maybe even your right thigh. Start to press your right foot into your right thigh if you're there, and start to peel open your hip. Make sure that you focus on something maybe on the floor, maybe just in front of you. Oh, there's a bit of wind. Again, keeping your hands on your hips is a nice way to stay stabilised. You can keep your hands here, or you can do cactus arms, or arms above your head. Whatever feels best for you. Or you can hold onto a chair if you would like a little bit more stability. And we're going to bring that foot back down. Okay, shake it out, shake it out. We're now going to switch sides, so stand on your right leg, and your left foot can either come to your left ankle, your calf, or your inner right thigh. Again, you can either keep your hands on your hips, or you can do cactus arms or arms above your head, whatever feels best for you today. Or you can use a wall or a chair for stability. But try to open your hip, press your foot against your thigh if that's where you are, and peel your hip open. And feel all of your energy coming through your right foot. Remember to breathe. I'm going to place that foot back down, shake it out, shake out both legs and arms. And back to the top of the mat. So we're going to place our feet either edge of our mat. You might want to grab some blocks here, or not, either way is completely fine. We're going to slowly start off in goddess squat. So I like to keep my hands on my hips. My feet are facing 45 degrees out. And we're going to slowly squat down. We're going to start here. I'm going to open my feet a little bit more. And then I'm going to squat all the way down. And what I like to do is to place my hands in prayer position in front of me and press them against my elbows. I'm going to move so you can see. So I'll come down slowly. So my knees are pressing in towards my elbows and my elbows are pressing out towards my knees. I'm going to stay here for a little moment. Again, feel free to use blocks or a chair if you would like to. And from there, we're just going to come down into a seated position. So we're going to move into a plank position again. So start on your hands and knees. Then you can extend your feet out behind you. And we're going to bring the right foot outside the right hand. You can place your left knee and left foot on the mat. And this is lizard pose, so you can either stay here, or you can maybe open up your foot, go onto the side of your right foot, and maybe start to move back and forth, either slow movements or fast movements. Whatever feels good, but don't push yourself too much. Just trying to get a nice stretch in the hips here. When we're ready, come back into tabletop and back into plank. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side, so bring your left foot out towards the outside of your left hand. Lower your right knee and your right foot. So again, this is lizard pose on the left side. Start to find some movement. You can maybe open up and go onto the side of your foot, so it opens up your hip a little bit more. Remember to breathe. Back into tabletop position and back into plank. Bring your right knee to your right elbow and then place your foot down for pigeon pose. Make sure that you are, balanced evenly on, in the middle of this pose. You don't want to be too far on this side or too far on this side and resting on your right kind of buttocks. You want to be raised almost. You can either stay here or you can use some blocks to come down. You can maybe come down onto your forearms, maybe even down onto your forehead and place your arms out in front of you. Whatever feels good for you today. I'm going to stay on my forearms. And we're just going to stay here for a couple of moments. After sitting for 3 days, like I said, with our big travel, 3 days of aeroplanes and trains and cars, this feels good to be stretching. So I hope this feels good for you too. Just take a moment actually to notice how your body feels. Do you feel sore? Do you feel tight? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel energized? Do you feel grateful? How do you feel? Okay, so placing our hands on the mat, tuck your left toes, lift your knee and step your right foot back into a plank position. You can maybe shake it out a bit if that feels good. And then bring your left knee to your left elbow and start to lower down into your pigeon pose. Again, your left knee should be somewhere behind your left wrist, your left ankle behind your right wrist, and your back leg is stretched out straight behind you. Again, you can either stay here, you can lower down onto blocks or onto your forearms, or you can lower down even further if that feels good for you. But just notice the stretch. Notice how it feels. Remember to breathe. Now might be a really nice time actually to think about 3 things that you're grateful for today. What 3 things are you grateful for today? Could be anything. Could be water to drink. It could be access to the internet to do this class. It could be your yoga mat. It could be your phone, your family, your friends. It could be anything. Just try and think of 3. When you're ready, place your hands back on the mat. Come up onto the toes of your right foot and step back into a plank position and down into a tabletop position. Now the bells are going. So we're going to move into some cat-cows. So inhale, raise the gaze and drop the belly. Exhale, press through your hands and through your shoulders, curve your spine and look down. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round the spine and look down. One more time. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round the spine, look down. Back to neutral. We're going to move around some circles. So again, maybe place your hands a little bit further in front of you. Start to bring your weight forwards, to the side, to the back, and to the side, forwards, creating some circles here. A bit like what we did at the beginning of the practice. And just notice any differences here. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And then we're going to come to a seated position. So you can sit with your legs crossed. And we're going to do Baddha Konasana. So you might want to have some blocks here to place a block either side to support your legs. I don't have any with me, I had to leave them in Miami. It's something I need to buy actually. But place your feet together in front of you. Now these can be any distance away. They can either be super up close here, or they can be further away here. Whatever it is for you that feels best, do that. So for me, I'm somewhere in the middle. So for me, around here, I like to kind of rock from side to side to find my seating and to get a little bit more comfortable. And now there's a couple of different options here. You can either place your hands behind you and have a bit of a chest opener. So you can lift your chest, lift your gaze, maybe close your eyes. Option 2 is just to sit straight. Option 3 is to give your feet a little massage. Maybe start to massage your toes and your feet. And then option 4, I think we're on, is to hold onto your feet and gently lean forwards, maybe placing your elbows on your legs and kind of pressing with your elbows, pressing your legs open even more. Do this with caution, don't hurt yourselves. Just a nicer way to kind of get deeper into the stretch. So we're just going to spend some time here doing whatever it is that you want to do today. Again, remember to breathe. And back up to center. So I'm actually now going to move into hero's pose. So all you do is basically sit on your legs. I'll kind of go sideways so you can see. Again, you can place 1 or 2 blocks here or blankets. And you just sit back on your feet. The other option, I don't enjoy this one myself, is to tuck your toes under and sit back on your feet that way. I'm not going to do that because I don't enjoy that. But we're just going to do it this way. And maybe here we'll take some cat-cows. So inhale, open the chest, lift your gaze. Exhale, curve your spine and look down. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Back to neutral. I'm going to place my right hand on the mat and do a nice side stretch, again like the beginning of the practice. And then on the other side. Two more times, back to the right. To the left. To the right. And last time to the left. And back to neutral. So let's now move into our laying down postures. We're only going to do a couple here, but if you lay down on your back, you can bend your left knee so the foot is on the floor and lift your right foot so that your right foot is resting on your left thigh. You can hook your hands behind your leg and start to pull that towards you for a nice figure 4 stretch of your right hip. We're not going to be here for long, don't worry. Okay, let's change. So switch sides, your left foot is on your right thigh. Place both feet down so that they are just behind your buttocks. Your hands come to the sides of you I'm going to press up for a bridge pose. So keep your feet and your knees hips distance apart. Try not to have your knees splaying outwards or coming inwards. Try and keep them aligned. Your palms are pressing into the floor, and slowly start to lift your sacrum, start to lift your buttocks, start to lift the middle, the lower back and the middle of your back. And any amount is absolutely perfect. You might want to place a block or two underneath. We're going to stay here, pressing upwards for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower back down gently. Bring your feet either edge of the mat and put your knees in together so your knees are touching. This will just neutralise the spine, so we're going to stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if you extend your, actually let's do happy baby, I like happy baby. So bring your knees into your chest, and you can hold onto your feet on the outsides of your feet and start to bring your elbows down towards the mat, splaying out to the sides, and your knees might be somewhere near your armpits. And just notice how that feels. Some people like to stretch one leg at a time. I can't personally do that, so it's not something that I do, but if you want to do that, you can go ahead. Okay, so extend the left leg out straight down to the mat and hold your right knee with your left hand. Your right arm comes out to the side. You can start to bring your right knee over to the left hand side, and your gaze can either stay looking up or maybe come to the right hand side looking over to your right hand. Slowly back to neutral. Swapping sides. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Swapping sides. Extend your right leg out. Hold your left knee with your right hand. Your left arm comes out by the side, and you can start to bring your left knee over to the right hand side, and your gaze can either be up or to the left. And back to neutral. It's now time for Shavasana. So maybe separate your feet to the width of the mat. Bring your hands either down by your sides, or I like to place my hands on my belly. And breathe. Notice how your body feels. I'd like to do the breathing technique that we did at the beginning of the class. So on your inhale, just say to yourself, I am breathing in. And on your exhale, just say to yourself, I am breathing out. Inhale, I am breathing in. And exhale, I am breathing out. Notice the ground below you. And notice which parts of your body are touching the mat. How does it feel to be supported? Maybe start to notice which parts of your body are touching clothing. Which parts of your body do you notice when you breathe? Do you notice your belly moving? Do you notice your chest raising up and down? Do Do you notice the air in your nostrils or in the back of your throat? We're going to stay here for a couple of minutes. I encourage you to take this time. I really believe Shavasana is the most important part of yoga. So take your time, don't rush. We're going to start to find some movement, so maybe start to wiggle your toes. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers, your wrists and your ankles. Maybe reach your arms above your head and have a big yawn or a big stretch. Point your toes, stretch your fingers. And find your way into a seated position. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this yoga class, this session. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up on the video just down below. You can subscribe as well for more videos. I'll be uploading new yoga videos every single Monday, so make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Namaste.